Where to begin? Our lag time class is making a lexicon about time, and that seems like a good place to start. What did the spinning pinwheel of death mean to me? Wait. One moment. Hold, please. Processing. Thinking. Struggling. Pause. I began to wonder, what's the history behind the spinning wheel? When was it born? Who thought of it? Then I realized this was information all of us were probably looking at. I needed to dig deeper. I then began to wonder if the symbol was recognizable to all of us, regardless of nationality, language, or age. Age reminded me of social media, and since this was a digital application, I opened Instagram and searched Pinwheel of Death. Pretty funny results. Lots of shared frustration, which got me think about the types of reactions I have to the pinwheel. Fuck. Why didn't I save? Why? Please, please, please. Come on, you can do it. Thinking about my own reactions makes me wonder if others share them, so I asked my parents what the wheel makes them think of. Okay, so now we're recording. I just showed you that video, and what was your reaction?
It reminded me of a kaleidoscope.
Okay. And what did it remind you of, Mom?
Kodachrome, like the old camera company, kind of like a marketing tool for them in years gone by.
Okay. And neither of you have ever seen that anywhere else?
I don't believe so.
Not that I recall.
Okay. In any different capacity?
Not that I can recall. What?
No?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But that's lines going around in a circle, where this was colors going around in a circle. But it did also remind me a little bit of a pinwheel when you were a kid and, multicolored.
Okay, so now that I've mentioned the fact that it's like a pinwheel that means processing on your computer, that reminds you of a different design that happens on your computer, but you are not familiar with the pinwheel exclusively.
Correct.
Okay. But Dad, you still don't have, that still doesn't remind you of anything. Okay.
No.
Honestly, I was a little shocked by their lack of recognition. They both own and use Apple products, but still, it was completely unfamiliar. I wondered if maybe it was tied more to a profession than I would have originally thought. Their lack of recognition stuck with me. It made me wonder what the previous variations of the pinwheel have been. Variations my parents would have understood and recognized. The walk, don't walk signals come to mind. Suddenly I wondered if it was the fact that I asked them to identify a symbol in the first place that was so unfamiliar to them. I think icons are something I personally take for granted. They're daily interactions for me on every screen, phone, computer, and watch that I use. I started researching more into icon design and came upon a lecture at the Letterform Archive by Susan Carr about icons and design. Susan was the first pixel artist at Apple, designing the screen graphics and digital fonts for the original Macintosh. Many of her points resonated with my own earlier thinking in looking at the spinning wheel, such as design for mom. I also appreciated her simplistic approach to icon design.
If you reduce it to its essential cartooniness, anyone can see themselves. And he explains it another way by saying, the less detail, the more universal, and which sort of goes counter to some like emoji sensibility now, where it's like, oh, if we have 5 skin tones or 20 skin tones or 50, it'll be enough. And sometimes I think about it almost the opposite way, that it'll never be enough. So if you make things that are simple, you don't exclude anybody. Like the street crossing signs where there's a silhouette of 2 kids holding hands, and there isn't really a technological limitation that they couldn't have 3D plaid lunch boxes and hair ribbons, and you could you could lard that with detail that might make it interesting, but at the end of the day, it would probably just make it harder to see it at a glance and understand what it was.
Simplicity. Susan's original icons were designed on a 32 by 32 grid, a point she brings up several times in her talk. I decided to break down the spinning wheel to its most basic components, pixels, and impose a similar restriction. I share these with Abby, and she points out the similarities to my drawing machines project from year one. This is that project. In making these drawings, I felt as if I developed a language between the different marks each tool made. Each drawing was a different conversation. Now, looking back on these once more, I wonder, what are the repeated components? What kind of language develops? What new landscapes emerge? Can I craft an entirely new narrative?